As usual, I'd like to thank everyone who participated by posting your questions. Being able to interact with all of you is something that I not only enjoy, but it makes me happy. With that out of the way, let's answer some of these questions. What is protocol for a made guy returning to the street after serving time? What does he have to do with the family? And what, if anything, does the family do to help him get back into rackets? The first thing a guy who just gets out needs to do is to make contact with whoever his captain may be. More often than not, a guy's on paper, parole, and that needs to be taken into consideration. As for the family helping him with any rackets, forget it. Hopefully no one poached any of his rackets he had going, but he would need to earn on his own. During a ceremony, the mob tells you they come before your personal family. But do you know who helps you when you get out of prison? Not the mob. When you were in the life, was the commission still active? Did you ever hear anyone talk about what the commission said or wanted? Here's a fact. I never heard the word commission come out of anyone's mouth during my time in that life. Are divorces common in the modern mob? If a man gets a divorce from his wife, is she off limits to the other made men? First and foremost, if a guy wants to get a divorce, it's not the mob's business. Those are personal matters. And as per Cosa Nostra rules, another member's wife or girl is off limits. I believe I mentioned during my ceremony, there were no stipulations to this rule. Do families recruit members they hear about, things they may do, and then pursue that person to become part of the family? For starters, I believe people find each other in life. But yes, the mob is always on the lookout for new prospects, especially if a guy's a big earner. On the street, Vic Amuso carried himself like a true gentleman as the boss. Did Mikey DeSantis carry himself in the same manner as Vic? Let's get one thing straight. Mikey's no Vic. Did he carry himself right as a boss? I believe he did so in the beginning, especially by revisiting anyone who was put on the shelf. I personally respected that. Without getting into a lot of details, much of what went on wouldn't fly if Vic was out there. Mikey's careful, I'll give him that. But what'll jam him up is the knuckleheads in the family. As a friend, which is an inducted member, if you're selected to be your captain's driver or the boss's driver, how can you earn if you're tied up driving around all day? It's a good question. If you're chosen for such an assignment, whether it be for your captain or the boss, they should provide an earn for you, possibly a cut of one of the rackets or money so you could put it out on the street. Usually a driver is taken care of, especially a boss's driver. I've seen some videos where they said Gas and Vic were on board with the Castellano hit, but after it went down, they tried to kill John Gotti. Do you think they were playing John the whole time? The definitive answer is, I really don't know. If they were on board with the hit and then took a different position, that's just a perfect example of the treachery of the life. And if anyone was playing anyone, I would have to say Chin was playing all of them. He was around much longer and a lot smarter than most of these guys. How could Sal Vitale become a made man and underboss in the Bonanno crime family if he was a former correction officer? The answer is nepotism. His brother-in-law, Joe Messino, was the boss. At one time, a guy couldn't be inducted if he worked at a job that required him to have a badge, like a sanitation worker. Guys like Pete Gotti or Spanky Castelli, both sanitation workers with badges, eventually got straightened out. Another example how the rules fell to the wayside. If you have two brothers, both members, one brother borrows money from his captain and dies. Is the other brother held liable? Technically, no, but it depends on the captain. Some captains will go to the living brother and ask him to do the right thing on the loan. And in some instances, the living brother may go to the brother's captain and try to work something out. It all depends on who's involved. Are associates impervious to mafia law, like drug dealing or retirement? Again, it depends on who's involved. Most guys don't care what their associates are up to, as long as they're putting money in their pockets. As for retirement, just to be clear, there is no retiring from the mob. Even a boss who steps down or claims to step down, he's still a member of that life. Conversely, if an associate wants to sail off into the sunset and the guy he's with is okay with it, he can do so. This next question, the person used the word zips, which many people find offensive or derogatory. Anyway, are there zips coming over from Italy to New York? Throughout history up to present day, there's always guys coming from both Italy and Sicily to the United States. Whether they get involved with the mob or not is another story. Do most made guys want to keep their sons out of the life? And I believe I've been asked this before. The answer is most guys do want to keep their sons away. And any person that does the opposite is not only foolish, but can't really care too much about their son. Someone asked me the other day, why would it be a father who's in a life that has two sons might let one son be inducted and not the other? And I brought up an example, same situation. Father's in a life, he's got two sons. One son was inducted, who happens to be in prison at the time, a respectful guy, and the other son, on the other hand, is a known moron. Are there enough young Italian Americans to recruit? Unfortunately, there'll always be young, ignorant guys ready to impress people, but they're clueless to the treacherous ways of that life. As you pour water into wine, it dilutes. And I think that's what we're seeing today with the mob. A guy in prison obviously has someone to handle his rackets. Does that person put money aside for the guy in prison and take care of his family? And when the guy gets released, does he get his rackets back? Usually when a guy's going away, he'll have someone close to him handle anything he's got going. If the person that's handling things is a good guy, of course he'll put money aside and take care of the guy's family. But not everyone's a good guy or has good intentions. How do guys in a life look at other men, civilians, who inspire to be like them or act like them in some way? Is it annoying or people just don't care? Let me first mention the super thanks icon found beneath this video for anyone who'd like to show their support or appreciation, and thank you. Personally, when I was in the life, I seen all the fake ass kisses. My preference was to have real people around me. A good example of the typical guy is Danny Campo, the biggest ass kisser and 100% fake. But there's thousands of Dannys out there. So I personally would take a sincere guy over somebody that's fake and just kissing ass. The next question is interesting. The person basically said that an unloyal person hardly gets stabbed in the back, whereas a person who's loyal and plays by the rules is usually the one to get backstabbed. After your time in the life, do you think loyalty or unloyalty is something you're born with or learned behavior? If you think about it, good people are usually the ones that get screwed over. I think loyalty is either in our DNA or not. But at the same time, it's something that can be instilled in us. And the last question. This person puts me as one of the more old school guys in the life and wants to know why I gave up my independence by becoming a member. I appreciate the compliment, but I'm no longer in the life. And the answer is, I'm human. All of us humans are prone to making mistakes. I was warned by the old timers that the life was no longer the same. Nevertheless, I knew who I was and that I followed the rules. And I foolishly believed I could help bring things back to the honor and respectful days when the mob was at its peak. It was a big mistake and I was wrong. And the old timers that warned me were right. So I'll end with this. Make sure you listen when an older person gives you advice.